Welcome to Haunt Topic Radio, the podcast for haunters by haunters. These are our scary visions.
Welcome back, haunters, to another episode of Haunt Topic Radio. You guys out there surviving the heat? Man, it's brutal here in Missouri. The other day it felt like 107, so y'all be safe out there. If you're working in non-air conditioning buildings, make sure you have plenty of water, make sure you have your cooling wraps, take plenty of breaks, find shade trees if you're working outside, pace yourself, don't get overheated, because we need you this haunt season. Be safe out there. In this episode, we get Bart Butler on from Terror in the Corn. I've been friends with Bart for many years, followed him in his ventures, his YouTube sensations, his builds, his travels to different haunts and helping build other haunts across the country. Now he's up in Colorado. This man is full of many talents and ideas, and we're talking all about Terror in the Corn this time. Talk about scare actor managing, set design, how to get more people to your haunt, and much, much more. Once again, this is one of our live toolbox segments. If you guys are missing these, make sure you're on our email list, haunterstoolbox.com. There is a free option. Go over there and sign up. If you sign up for a paid membership, you get a half an hour consulting with me, and you get all of our access to our library of classes that we have. We're trying to make you a better haunter. Go to haunterstoolbox.com and sign up to be a member. We are gearing up scare badges for the season, so if you guys are looking for badges and awards for your crew and staff this haunt season, go to scarebadges.com. Our next podcast will be with Eddie McLaurin from Woods of Terror. We had that live. That was a few days ago. So if you guys aren't signed up, you're missing a lot of opportunities to talk and ask your questions to these experts. We have them all, they're always on a Tuesday night around 7:30 p.m. Central Time. We call them Toolbox Tuesdays. Let's roll into it. Our masterclass Ask the Expert session with Bart Butler from Terror in the Corn. I'm going to push record, get that set up. We are recording. We are live on Facebook. We are also on Zoom. If you get, if you're on our email list, you would have got a Zoom link. You can click that Zoom link and you can come on into the private Zoom room that we have. Everyone else on Facebook, say hi. Tonight we have Bart Butler on from Terror in the Corn, and we're going to pick his brain. We're going to talk about scare acting and management and set design and cornfields and scarecrows and whatever else you get, whatever kind of questions you guys want to ask, we're going to ask it. So I know Bart's probably got some friends out there. I can just wait to see what kind of questions they're going to come up with. So
I'm afraid of those.
Those are always fun. So Bart, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know I started following you since when you were doing the haunt house years ago, and that became another haunt. I'm not sure exactly where that's at. You might know where it's at now, but
I guess Arkansas.
Is it Arkansas?
Yeah.
I remember you guys putting that together in your YouTube series. Was it A Haunter's Life? Was that it?
Yep.
I don't know if you guys still do anything with that, but kind of let us know your journey, how you got here, where you're at now.
Okay. Well, I've always loved Halloween, but I didn't start until 1992. Graybeard showing. I think I was 19 at the time. And I got to work under a huge person in the industry back then, which was Lance Pope. So I got to mentor under him. I got to watch for years on what worked, what didn't work, this and that, and watch him and help him build haunted houses. And he did use me as a guinea pig. First year I worked there, I was a scare actor. I think I came in during half the season, saw the place, was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Started the next night haunting. I was the problem child. I'm not going to lie. I was the guy who you couldn't calm down. I was the guy that was holding everybody up in the haunt. because I was just crazy. And Lance would always go, Bart, let him buy, let him buy, let him buy, And so I was just that type of person at that time. And then the next year, I came out during the summertime, and I was like, hey, can I help in any way? And of course, Lance pulled the I'm going to try this guy out, because everybody knows that's worked at a haunt, that you have these people that come in and go, oh, I want to do, I want to help, but they don't realize how hard the work is. They don't realize that they actually have to do a lot of hard work. And so his test was, which is what's funny because I found out this was the same test that he did to Michael Edwards too, was he had me weed eat the whole haunt.
Oh.
So I was out there weed eating for 4 or 5 hours that day, and sunburnt, all that. Said I was, came in and said it's all done, all that. And he goes, awesome, thank you so much. Come back tomorrow. Come back tomorrow. And I said, okay, I'll be back tomorrow. Went back the next day and started helping build the first scene that which was the collapsing hallway. That was like a plant room and all of that, and started helping build that room right off the bat. And then we also built a secondary attraction, which was Cassandra's Pandemonium Carnival, and which was under a big top tent. And we built that, and then he had me run it. I'm like, dude, I'm 20 years old. I don't know what the heck I'm doing, but he had me run it, and I ran it for 3/4 of the season until a tornado came and tore our queue line up, jumped over through Verdun Manor, and tore the big top off the. I don't even know where it went. Took that and just it was gone. So fast forward, he used me, as I said, a guinea pig. He would build a new attraction and then have me go in there and run it and find all the kinks. And then once I found it, he would build another attraction, and then he would have me go run that and have somebody else, after all the kinks are working out, and run, doing that. So
what year is this? Or did you say what year it was?
Well, I started in 92, but
92?
he did that from, in 93, I started running the first attraction, which was Cassandra's Pandemonium Carnival. And then once we moved to Terrell, had the big theme park type atmosphere, he started opening a wagon ride, and then we opened Cassandra's, which was another haunt. And so he would have me just bounce around, and I did that until 2002, and that's when Lance passed away. And at that point, didn't know what to do, where we were going. Everything just got thrown up in the air. And then poor Sue, which is mom, she started running the haunt. And I just went in there during one summer and just started moving stuff around and building new scenes and all that, and just did it on my own. And so after that, at 2004, I left Throwmania and kind of had a lapse, went to several other different haunts, worked for them, and then opened my own haunt in 2007, which was the Haunt House, and ran that for 7 years. And then unfortunately I also came up, like we were saying, came up with a YouTube series. The reason why we came up with the YouTube series, we didn't know where we were going. So the first season was like, oh my gosh. But anyways, it worked out really well at the first because I had somebody else film and edit. Me with ADHD, it doesn't work out as well. But we started the YouTube series, A Haunter's Life, because we always had these great stories that we would tell, and everybody wanted to hear the stories. And so we're like, why don't we just start filming ourselves doing what we do, and everybody can see the stories that we do. And then we finally got to the point where it's like, you know what, maybe we should start teaching people what to do and all that, because we always thought, we always had the mentality of, we want everybody to be great in the industry. We want everybody that has a haunt, we want them to be great, we want them to be good. And we didn't, and of course that's the way Lance was too. He had that mentality of, I want everybody to learn. And because we looked at it as in, our future customers don't just go to our haunted house. They go to every haunted house. And if they go to a haunted house that's not that great, they think that all haunted houses are not that great. And so we just wanted to teach everybody, hey, you can do it. It's this easy and all that. It's everybody just has to have the knowledge is what it is. It's just knowledge. And so that's the reason why we started going that way with A Haunter's Life. And then in 2013, I had to close the haunt house down because of partnership issues, and we won't get into that. But then I started moving all over the country. Moved to Tennessee, moved to Ohio, worked for a couple of haunts, and then moved back to Texas, worked for Dark Hour. And then I got a call from Anderson Farms up in Colorado. I've wanted to live in Colorado my whole life. That's where I vacation. And he said, "Hey, you wanna come out here?" And I'm like, yes, yes.
Full
Um,
time.
and so I came out here 2020, a week before the pandemic hit, and just been going at Anderson Farms ever since. I came here as just a builder and helping with actor managing and all that. But in 2022, I became the show director. So I moved up, and I was like, it's like, oh, I like the money, but I'd rather just build and act. But yeah, so now I'm here. I'm at Anderson Farms tearing the corn, and we're very well there.
And this is full time year round.
Full time year
Work,
round.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was my story in a nutshell.
Uh,
Have you checked out HauntersToolbox.com yet? It's free to join and full of useful information to help you start and grow your own haunted attraction business. All the information on HauntersToolbox.com is created by the pros who do it. We have a library with ebooks and presentations on topics like creating an employee handbook, starting a business plan, or the best types of lights to use at your haunt, plus a lot more. You get instant access to the library plus free video masterclasses by the experts in the haunt industry. Classes like Alan Hops from Dark Hour Haunted House teaching scare acting, or Philip Hernandez from the Haunted Attraction Network teaching marketing and social media, or Leonard Pickle from Hauntpreneurs teaching haunt design and construction. I even got a few master classes in there as well. You don't have to do it alone. Let us help you. We also host monthly live masterclasses to steer you in the right direction so you don't get lost. Once you become a member, you also get instant updates on our next masterclass in your email so you don't miss the next one. And if you need more one-on-one help, there is an option for that as well. I would be honored to help you get your attraction started or help you grow your current one. I know what it takes. Let's talk. If you're interested, you want to start and grow your haunted attraction, go check out HauntersToolbox.com. Don't be scared.
and going back to your YouTube series, I enjoyed it because you guys were joke around, but you would still teach stuff.
Uh-huh.
It was, and then I think you started to back up again.
We did. We tried several times, and it just got to the point where I was filming, I was editing, and then I was also trying to build, and also trying to manage everybody. And it got to the point where I would just start forgetting to film, and then it would just I just throw my hands up in the air and I go, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this, this, and this, and this all at the same time. I'm having a hard time just doing my job, then add, you know, filming and editing and all that into it. It was quite difficult.
So you need another cameraman.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
anybody around the area just wants to do
cameraman,
this. Yeah,
all about it.
yeah. So we had a Petey. I know you're out thinking Petey was putting it. Where are you guys from? Kind of like to know where you're at in the chat. Put your city and state in there so we kind of know where you're at and where you're from.
Right now, I'm originally from Garland, Texas, but now I live in Eerie, or I'm in Johnstown, Colorado right now. That's where I live, but the haunt is in Eerie, Colorado.
How far of a commute is that for you?
30 minutes. It's kind of pricey here in Colorado. They want a lot of money for stuff, and so I'm kind of out a little bit farther up north, because the closer you get to Denver, the cost is just excruciating.
Yeah,
It's terrible.
but you got that motorcycle. You just
Yep.
take a nice little cruise, right? So.
Yes. Always up in the mountains.
Oh, we had a question about a maze design. So where do you start? Like if you figure out your area, your space, just to
You
create
start at the start and you go to the exit. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
well,
not what you meant. Okay. No.
well, yeah.
Oh,
I think you should do that too.
the design starts at the theme. What's your theme? That's where you start. What's your theme? What's your story? And then you go from there. You want to, again, I've been telling a lot of people this, that a lot of haunted houses are starting to be more immersive, because that's kind of the end thing coming in right now. So really, it's more about immersion into a story is what we've been doing. It's been working. And again, it's just once you get the theme down and you figure out your story, then you can start going room to room to room to room to room. Try and what tells that story. Or there's some haunts that just work where the rooms just don't make any sense, and you just go from room to room to room. I've seen haunts like that too, and they do very well. I'm just more on the creating a story line and telling a story as you're going through my haunt. But after you do that, then it's just to get your square footage, sit down and just start going. Okay, I want you write down the rooms you would like to have. I want this, this, and this, and this. And then after that, you get down on it. I again, a lot of people do stuff on the computer. I'm old school, so I just do the graph paper. And I get down, I do my big, huge. Okay, how big is the haunt? And just start going. Okay, this room needs to be this size. This room needs to be this size. This room needs to be this size. And so after you get to that and see your layout, now again, I like to do a lot of switchbacks because I like to confuse people on where they are and get them disoriented where they don't know. Wait, where's the front? Where's the back? So, and you can tell a story with a hallway. You don't have to just have just a regular hallway. You can deck out the hallway. There's always that too, but you just get your story. And then of course, once you have your rooms and you kind of think you have your layout ready, then you go and you build up those scenes to make sure they're big enough for what you want to put in there. And if not, you'll have to go back to the regular design and just rework. Right now where I'm at is I have 10 acres. I have 5 acres of haunt and 5 acres of corn. It has been a weird ride as far as designing that because everything was already there. And so it was like, okay, what needs to go? What needs to stay? What needs to do to tell this story? And again, it's a big ghost town. It's like an old West ghost town. And so we already had that. That was good. The storyline that we had was good. The only thing I didn't like about our storyline was the fact that everybody was a townsfolk. So I didn't like that everybody was kind of the same thing. And so that's the reason why I changed some stuff. I brought a witch into the area. And again, Kaniva and Brandon came up with an awesome storyline for that. But I sit there and said, I want to have a witch and I want to bring a witch in. And the reason why I did that is I wanted to have more monstrous characters out there besides just townsfolk that you would see in an old ghost town. And so the other problem we had is a lot of buildings look the same. We're trying to, again, it's a mile-long haunt, and it's hard to update every year. We want to update everything, and that's the problem we have is we put too much on our plate. But I hope I answered the question enough about the design process.
Yes.
So as you're designing, I have a question.
Huh?
What's an ideal room size or density for a specific scare? I know there's a bunch of different kinds of
Yeah.
scares, but are
Uh,
big rooms better for
To be honest, I like smaller rooms better because I like for them to feel like they can't get away. Like when an actor comes out, they're out there, they're right there, and they have nowhere to go. And that always seems to work really well. We do have some big scenes at our haunt that actually work really well with what we do. Like the bigger scenes, you want to have a grand thing if you have a big scene. On the smaller scenes, you can have it look like it's packed full. That's why I like smaller scenes, is you can make it look like it's a lot more packed, a lot more stuff in it, even though it's not. But like a big scene we have this huge town square area, and it has this wagon in the middle of it. And we just renovated this, or we just redid it last year, and we put this big balcony on there, and we have courtesans up there. So the courtesans, we made it big and grand. So the courtesans are up there grabbing your attention to make you look up. And that's when we have these, what we call bone boys, is we have these crawlers that come out from underneath the wagon, and that's how we get you. So you have these distractions up here, and of course, look at me, look at me, look at me type of people. And then of course the scare comes from the bottom. And and that's what we use for when we do big scenes. Is we want things to look grand. We want you to look around, because that gets you off your comfort zone of trying to protect yourself. Did I answer the question?
Yep,
Okay.
I think so.
I was going to pull up some photos from Facebook.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to ask a few more questions from the chat. Felix said switchbacks make your haunt a little longer. Well said. He was the one that asked that original question. Yes, the video will be live, or will be viewable later. It'll be in our Facebook group, Hunter's Toolbox, where you're at now, or it'll be, I'll send a link. If you're on an email list, I'll send a link out to you in email afterwards. And if you want to get on the email list, go to hunterstoolbox.com and sign up to be a member. There are free memberships over there. What are some big design mistakes or layout choices you've learned the most from? As Dan.
Flow is huge, especially when you think, oh, I want to get all these people. I want to be like one of these big guys that do all these numbers and stuff like that. That comes with this whole other set of problems. It does. When you have what we did, back in 2020, we had 20,000 people. Well, we could do certain things in our haunt. We could have we had a staircase that would go up and down in a room, where you just didn't know what it was doing or anything like that. And then we went to 64,000 people this last year. You can't do that anymore. We're more looking at choke points than anything else, and it stinks. So we thought we would do a laser tunnel, which was really cool, out in the corn. And we were like, okay, we can have a laser tunnel out in the corn. That's awesome. They love our laser swamp. We could do one out in the corn. It backed up the corn so bad because people had to go through a threshold and open up, and then it was foggy and they didn't want to move. Just simple stuff like that. And again, simple, that's another thing. Shockingly simple stuff that you do is the most effective. I've found that out in my years of haunting. I'll just give an example. When I was just trying to open the haunt house in 2007. I was the only one building it, and I had to do scenes. And I saw this one scene that was really cool that I was like, okay, we could do that. I could implement that the first year. And it was called a shadow hallway. I don't know if you guys know what that is. And what it is you put boards going across the top of your hallway. And I had like a 5-foot hallway and boards going across. And then you put a light bulb above it and it creates these shadows. Now you paint your walls gray and then you outline the shadows. And outlining those shadows, and then you paint those shadows black. Now you dim the bulbs so that you give the perception of people can actually see when they actually can't. You put somebody in full black, they just come out from that wall and just disappear into another one. It was the most simplest thing to do, and it was so effective. I got rid of it because I wanted to have, very detailed scenes and all that. And I will tell you, I had very detailed scenes in the haunt house. And you know what the favorite was of everybody? The dark hallway. It was, oh my gosh, it drove me nuts. So like all that work I put in there, and you like the dark hallway.
I think Scarlet badges are one of the smartest things I've seen in the industry in a really long time. Scarlet badges are basically either pins or embroidered patches, kind of like merit badges, as they are, somewhat named after, from Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and Brownies, and where after you've accomplished something, you can wear the brag tag of the embroidered patch. Some haunts put them on jackets, some put them on t-shirts, some put them on, with the pins, I've seen them put them on lanyards. But the neat thing about them is they are very specific in what they are rewarding. And they're haunt-based images that reflect what's being rewarded. It's retention, it is bringing people back, and it's actually giving your haunters, your haunt performers, the ability to share that they are haunt performers. And, oh really, you're a scare actor. Where do you do that? And then they will insert the name of your haunt right there. So it's also marketing. I've always been a big fan of Scarlet badges. I think they're great. So check them out, scarletbadges.com. No, that is not a paid advertisement. That is just my recommendation. I think it's really cool.
ScottSwenson.com.
But again, most of the failing we're having right now is throughput. Throughput is huge in our department because we are a conga line haunt. It's just what it is. We're open 22 nights. We do 64,000 people. We do 600 people per half hour. We're we're a conga line haunt, and that's the biggest concern we're having right now is just throughput. So every time we build anything, we got to think of, is this going to bog anybody down? And it stinks because there's a lot of ideas that we have that are really cool, and we all have to knock them down because we know it will not, it'll just slow people down. But that's another thing is too, we have to train our staff for conga lines. We have to train, I mean, again, it brings a whole other set of problems that you have to sit there and make sure the way the story's been given, make sure nobody stops to hear the story. You only have this much time to say something, otherwise somebody will stop. There's a lot more that goes into it.
What's your top 3 tips for actors working in a conga line haunt to create effective scares?
Really, it's more of you got to build a set for it. That's another thing is too. You got to build your set. What I call A through D actors. You have your A actor, which is your basically your person that can talk to anybody, just your Q line actor, and then you have a D actor, the only person that can work out of a curtain. They can only go and then go back in and you got to build a set for all A, B, C, and D. And again, mostly the time is do not stand like a statue. I could put a prop in the place in your place if you're just going to stand there. But the thing is that always, if you have something to say, intensity, when you come and you say something, and then you go back into and then you start talking about other things. But you always have. We do a lot of improv. We have an improv class every last Friday of the month. We talk a lot about that because again, you've got to have a lot of improv when we have that. But if you're a D actor or C actor, it's mainly pop out, get that reaction, reset. Pop out, get the reaction, reset. Or if you have several different things, hit the first of the group here, hit the middle of the group here, hit the last of the group here, and so that works out. But the biggest concern is them coming out somewhere and freezing and just standing there and doing this, which is awful.
There's so many people. There's so many people.
Yeah, it's just like they come out and they just go, I don't know what to do with people, and it's just a constant line that's just coming through their room. And so it's just, and of course, also too, do not stop anybody. That's a big thing. So if you're going to reach out fast, pull back, pull away to keep them moving. Do not step in front of them. If you're going to get up on them, go up from behind, keep moving them. That's another thing.
And going to your actors, I know you guys started implementing individual characters. It was a few years ago you really started getting into the characters, and
yes.
Tell us a little bit about that and how that go for you guys.
The individual characters is was kind of a thing and all that, but I wanted to make it. I've always been into actors and characters and stuff like that. I've always been heavily into that, and I want everybody to have their own personality. I want everybody to have their own backstory. I want everybody, because I want them to have a reason that they're there. That way they have more to say. They have more to do. This year we did something really cool, or I would say but Kaniva did something really cool, which was we calling it a one sheet. And a one sheet tells you what your character is, where they're located in the haunt, and then basically does a play-by-play of how the scene actually works. That way, if you get anybody in there, they don't quite understand the scene, they read that one sheet. When they get their costume and all that, they read the one sheet, and it tells them everything. We also give them example lines. Just if you don't know what to say, start out with this and then come up with your own stuff. And it makes it so simple. So simple. It tells you exactly why your character's there, exactly how your scene works, exactly, maybe, pop out here, do this here. And it just makes it really, really simple. It took him months this year because he did it slightly last year to see how it worked, and it worked out so well that we have 186 positions in the haunt. And so he had to do all of those. And here's the crazy part. He goes, he did them all. And then by the time he got to the last zone, he thought of something else that was really cool. And so he had to start over and do it all over again. But yeah, so we're really big into characters. We're really big into each of them being individual. We don't want all of them saying, welcome to my room, welcome to my room. That we've gotten compliments how that our actors do not, none of them say the same thing. And that's what we want. We want each actor and each character to be its individual self and not be like any other person out there. And that's hard with 186 actors.
Yes. But it does, like you said, it does get them more involved in their character.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they get so involved that we actually have if they're not working in an area that they've been working for a while, and they're really into that, and we take them out because it's just not working out. They have meltdowns. I mean, they're that involved in it.
Yeah. Scott Simonson was, do you ever plan on opening a haunt again?
No.
There
No.
you go.
No, I like where I'm at. I get most of the creative control without all the risk. So I've owned a haunt. You know what I got out of I'll tell everybody. You know what I got out of the haunt house? I got a set of 4 new tires. That's all I got. 7 years, 4 new tires. They think we make all this money and all that. I will say that we make Anderson Farms a lot of money now. But opening my own haunt and all that, I did okay. But yeah, I put everything back into the show. I had a problem with that. I wanted the haunt to look really, really good. I wanted everybody to look really, really good. And so and I had to pay taxes on that too. Yeah. So all the money that we made, I tried to spend a lot of it before January. And then whatever I didn't spend, I had to personally pay taxes on it. It was just, so I'd make all this money back from the Postal Service and immediately gone, So no, I don't want to own my own haunt. I am perfectly where I'm at with just being the show director, and the operator, and getting all the perks, but not having to risk all everything else, because it's stressful. I'm not gonna lie. You sit out there as an owner just waiting for people to come in. You're like, oh my gosh, man, are we gonna get this number tonight? Are we not? Are we gonna get are we gonna get this number by the end of, which is what we need, to stay open. It's stressful. And I like not having, I already have stress enough with the position. I don't need any more.
I say you've got a pretty sweet gig. I like how you have it right there. It's probably where I'd be too, if I had a choice.
Do you know what causes haunted attractions to shut down before they even get started? The top 3 roadblocks are lack of funding, lack of leadership, lack of resources. As a member of the Haunter's Toolbox, you get instant access to the tools you need to start and grow your own haunted attraction business. To get started, become a member at haunterstoolbox.com.
Tyler Swartz. So do you have a scene that you worked on that's your favorite? I know it's like choosing your babies, but
oh my gosh, that's no, I don't, because there's awesomeness in all of them. Like where Tyler's at, which is Akron Haunted Schoolhouse. Just working at Akron Haunted Schoolhouse, just the history of that place was just awesome to be a part of. I mean, that's cool. I get to say that I helped, with Akron Haunted Schoolhouse and Laboratory. I got to be a part of that because of the history of it was just insane. And so I love doing the 3rd floor of Akron Haunted Schoolhouse. That was a lot of fun. That was new for me, having to carry wood up three flights of stairs, to redo a whole floor. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Of course, Dark Hour, doing some scenes at Dark Hour. That was a cool thing I liked about working with Alan. Was Alan always tried to push me out of my comfort zone. Just like with the 16-foot clock. When he sit there and said, I want, it's Dark Hour. I want this huge clock. And I'm like, oh, okay. And pretty much just for everybody that knows, everything I have is self-taught. Everything I do, I just figure it out. I haven't been taught how to do any of this stuff, but so I had to figure that out. I'm like, okay, how am I going to build a 16-foot clock that this monster breaks out of? And oh, that's a good video game. That's cool. But yeah, it was. I would say, and of course, you got the haunt house. That's always going to be a baby for me. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I know I liked the slat hallway that I built. That was a fun one. The clock
hard
was
to
a fun
choose.
one. I built the sewer entrance there too at dark hour. I helped build the Frankenstein lab. That was fun. Basically, I would say it's more of the experience than it is about what favorite scene I is. I think it was because when I was doing those things, that's all I was doing. I was just building. I didn't have to worry about anything else, and that's what I really like to do. So any scene that I look at now, any scene that I can work on where that's all I have to worry about is the most fun for me because that doesn't happen hardly anymore at
Okay,
all.
on the flip side of that, then, what are a couple of the scenes that you put so much blood, sweat, and tears into that maybe it was more work than it should have been for how it was received by the public?
Oh,
Which ones would you not do again the same way that you did them the first time?
majority of my scenes because I was just learning as I was going. Oh, maybe I shouldn't do it this way anymore. And no, yeah, again, it's just trial and error with everything. I would say there was a scene where I first started working with Synergy, and I didn't really know how Synergy worked. And I knew you put it on with a hopper, but I didn't realize that I should recess the walls with the bricks. And so I put the bricks on top of the plywood, not realizing how much I had to build up to get to those bricks. And I would say that was my biggest failure at the haunted house was that room, which of course it looked fine, in the dark, but it drove me nuts. And then of course, tearing it down was going to be hard because it's Synergy, so everything's trashed, as far as that goes. But I never tore it down. I left it. I dealt with it a little bit. I added some more stuff in there to kind of take away from the walls. But I'd say that was my biggest and first mess up that I had.
Everything's been perfect since then?
No, no, I found
That's
out my
important for
concoction.
hunters to hear
I
because sometimes we spend a lot to make it perfect,
uh,
and the customer is only in there for 14
yeah,
seconds.
I've getting older and then finally figuring that out. There's some things where you go, okay, we don't need to do that. Okay, I don't need to do that. Especially when I do that a lot more now because I don't have a time. I don't have time to do it, and so I always try to figure out, okay, what's the most important thing in the room. I would like to get back to, oh my gosh, just work on this one room and that's all I have to worry about, or working on this one set and that's all I have to worry about. Because I have just so many other things that I have to do. I just rush through so much now because our haunt's so huge and we have to change so much every year. And we have temporary staff now, but we don't have the staff that we actually need there to do all the stuff we want to do. We're still wearing a lot of hats, but I mean we're fine with that. I mean it is what it is. But yeah. So I would say that's the biggest one that we had a problem with out at Terror of the Corn was I did crypts, and of course I did crypts the normal way I do them, which is the glue with the cement and spray it through a hopper, and it went on everything. And then I guess the Colorado atmosphere is horrible for everything else. Uh, it just flaked right off. It was like I have never had that concoction come off of anything, and it just didn't want to stick at all. We added more glue to see if that was the problem, and it's so dry there that it just didn't. That's the only thing I can come up with. So now we have to, if we want to do anything, we have to do Synergy, but then the Synergy comes off too. It's crazy. We have buildings out there that has Synergy on them, and they're flaking off. And that's the biggest problem I have right now is it's so dry there that distressing is a problem. Because if you use just your water and paint method, you can't do that anymore. The sun fades it out. The sun's horrible there. And so there's a lot of stuff that you got to learn. Like I distressed this wall and I'm like, wait, the water dried before it even got halfway down. And it was just, oh my gosh. And I try to wet the wall down. And so then I had to start coming in at like 4:30 in the morning before the sun came up to distress uh, anything. And then the sun would bleach it right out. And so now we went to stains, and we're using stains, and they're lasting longer. But that's what I noticed with outdoor hunting is that you got your shelf life is ticking all the time. But yeah,
Well,
that's my biggest one as far as tearing the corn is my concoction of making it look like concrete. It just flaked right off.
we all learn from our mistakes, though. It's how we learn, right? You got to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
it and
yeah.
see what happens. So,
But
Now
yeah,
you know what not to do.
and what not
yeah.
to do.
Well, I know not to use that concoction anymore in
Yeah.
Colorado. It was just
Yeah.
we just spent a day spraying it, and then we spent another day spraying it, and it was like this just wasn't working.
There's a little difference in the weather between Colorado, Texas, and Florida,
Yes.
and Maine.
Yeah, it's
Right. Frankenfab asks, what props or animations do you tend to use or stay away from, especially being in your climate? Kind of stuff do you use?
well, we noticed that the skeletons that we have that we normally can get, we have to get resin instead of a plastic source because the sun will melt it and the bones will bend. And then it won't look like a bone anymore. It'll look like this round thing. We found that out a year ago. So now we're having to buy really expensive skeletons just to put, just to put out. And but wait, okay, I have ADHD. What was the question again?
What props or animations do you tend to use or stay away
Okay.
from?
Props have been doing good. It's just you got to if you're in outdoors, you got to store them properly throughout the year. If you don't, they won't last very long. We bought a lot of Unit 70 this last year, or actually this year. We bought a lot of Unit 70 stuff. We bought a lot of oh my gosh, my brain's going blank. It's the one next to Allen or near Allen.
The same aisle?
Yes,
Ghost Ride?
Ghost Ride. We buy Ghost Ride products. We did buy poison props, animations. We buy a lot of Beastcraft animations. Been happy with those, and of course, Gorgalore. We've been buying Gorgalore puppets. We keep adding 2 every year, and again, with our hunt being a mile long, we can spread them out pretty good, so they're not just one after another. But yeah, so as far as staying away, I know we stay away from the scare factory, but that's only because of the reputation. We don't want to get screwed. And from what we've heard and all that, with John Eslick's, they're based out of Columbus. John bought some stuff from them, and they worked good. But yeah, so we just with the reputation, we just didn't want to get screwed, or the fact that they come in and they only work for a night or so, and then Dylan's having to redesign the whole thing.
Now, do they have, you said you have areas inside, because I walked through it, I got to see it when it wasn't all complete, but I got to see the background and all the good stuff. But anyway, can you leave your animations up all year, or do you move them, store them, or they?
We store the animations too. We basically, they all we have a refrigerated trailer. So the heat and the cold doesn't get very well in them. They still get in there, but I mean, it doesn't make it extreme because it's got all the padding and insulation in there. And so that's where we store all of our props and then and animations. And then some of the animations come into the shop with us and get put up in the ceiling. And then we have another place called Area 51, which is this big, huge barn that we put a lot of stuff into too, and it protects it from the weather. It's the snow and the sun that is the worst for it.
The extremes of the weather.
Yeah.
Your average room temperature isn't a problem, but that just never happens.
Yeah.
72 degrees and 22% humidity. Just no.
Yeah. I miss indoor hunting.
This podcast episode sponsored by Scarlet Badges.
we always were looking for ideas to get those actors to take it to the next level. I really want to do something that they can use more than just a meal, or they can use more than just a that a boy, that a girl. They love this stuff, but it's not really promoting a haunter. And then I sit down, Scarab Badges comes out. That's when I realized this is amazing, because not only is it giving them an attaboy, but it's also promoting them all year round. And to promote somebody, to give somebody accolades all year round and have them be able to wear it on their shoulder with pride means a lot. This right here says this is who nailed it on this day in this year for the rest of their life, for the rest of their haunting life. And that's what I really love about this product, is you're able to give haunting to somebody an attaboy 365 days a year. And that's, so hats off to you guys. I think this is a great product, and I wish you the best of luck because it's awesome.
Get your Scarab Badges at scarabadges.com.
Now, how do you tackle some of that more extreme weather, like the snow during this season?
We really, since we've been there, it has snowed. It affected us big time. Not this last year, not 2024, but 2023. We had to close down our last 2 nights because we had this big snowstorm come in, and then it also got down to the like teens, and we just weren't gonna. We weren't going to put our staff through that. So we had to refund 8,000 tickets.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Is that snow right there in that picture? Or is that?
Oh, that's the video game. The video game has a Christmas thing where it's Krampus instead of Demetra.
I actually have a trailer of the video game pulled out, but I'll show that in a little bit.
But again, it like this year we road base our haunt, so it's not mud, and we can't do anything out in the cornfield. Cornfield's cornfield. But we road base the haunt, but it was so dry this year that the road, and we had 64,000 people go through, that they just stopped the road base to dust. Basically, the haunt was a whole just cloud of dust. And we've never had that problem before. And so this year we had to come up with some concoctions to go through and wet the haunt down so there's not much dust, and put mag chloride down to make the road base more concrete-like, and not, because I mean, you had dips, in the hallways. It was pretty bad. And again, that was something new we learned this year. It was we're learning something new every year, but that was this year's learn, is like, okay, so if it's really dry, we have a really dry season, which is insane because we actually had the wettest May that we've had in a while. We had more rainfall. And we're a desert climate, but we had more rainfall here than Seattle did in May.
Wow.
Excuse me?
Yeah, it would
wow.
stop. It was like, oh my gosh, we would like to work.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Now, you've got such a lengthy haunt. How many, you're talking about hallways and stuff, so do you have buildings along the way? And then the next question I have is running power and stuff to those. How do you do that?
So we actually have an electrician that comes out to run. I mean, most everything's buildings and all that. We have a lot of rooms that you go through. There's only a couple buildings out there that were out there since early 2000s that they put out there, and they thought they thought they could run people through those places, and the fire marshal went no, and so they just stayed out there because they're huge buildings. But we don't run anybody through buildings. I think there's a tunnel out there that we have that was out there since before I got there, and we're probably going to get rid of that in a couple of years because it's not code. I mean, it's not code as far as like it has a ceiling in it. We built some tunnels this year, but we put a as far as it kind of went up to like this, and then of course camo netting up here to make it look like it's something, but smoke can still escape. But no, but we have a lot. We do have a lot of buildings that you walk through, but it's an open ceiling. So I'm trying to remember the question now.
Just how do you handle like your sound and audio and
so we have
the electricity getting it out to all of these places, which are
the 10 acres of the ghost town. We have no problem. We run electrical pipe everywhere with plugs and all that to each scene and all that, and we have sound that are in the scenes with players and all that piles. Well, we use piles, and then so that almost every scene has its own sound. And then the corn is a different thing. Corn, actually, we have this. I mean, it's about that thick of a hose that hooks into the side of a panel, and it goes all the way out to what we call turtles. And those turtles out there in the corn will have plugs that you can plug into. And each building that we put out there, which is where the actors come out from, they already have their central power. Everything's already done, and then it's just like a plug and play. You just plug the power cord into it to the turtle, and it's ready to go with the sound, everything. Also, too, we have a camera system out there. I think we have 96 cameras total in the place. But yeah, that's how we run power, sound, and all that out there. Also, too, I started integrating. I went to Haunted Overload, and I saw they had a central power, central sound system, which is like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. I want to do that out in the corn. So each building has its own sound, but we have the central sound that's in the middle of the corn that is an ambient sound for everything.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that. Ryan Ruger was asking, what is your favorite go-to spot during showtime that you like to watch the show? Any high views of the property or the haunt? You have a chill spot?
No.
No. You ain't got time?
The only chill spot I can go is to go back in the office, which is where I can't go.
That's my favorite spot to watch the show from when I'm in
Now,
the
do you take a look at the cameras in the security room?
Yes.
And
Yes.
you got 96 cameras, and you kind of get a lay of the land from there and see where things are working and or not?
I do rounds. And so I'll start at the queue line. I'll make sure everything's working there. I'll go back to the actor area, look at that. I'll go to the security room, which is in between the corn and the haunt. I'll go in there, pop in there, look around, and then I'll go and I'll walk all the way around the corn to see if there's anything else going on. Then I walk to the east side of the haunt, and then I go back to the queue line, and I just do rounds. And I ask all my team leads and my actor manager, assistant actor manager, I ask them, and my security manager, I'm asking everybody if they need anything, because we have an organizational chart that is where if anybody goes down, there's somebody to replace them. So like, a manager has an assistant manager, or like a team lead has a breaker has a roamer, and then you have the actors. So let's say the team lead gets COVID or anything like that, and they're out. The breaker already knows the team lead's job enough that they can fill that position in, and then the roamer comes up to a breaker, and then we bring somebody into the roamer spot. And so you have 3 different people in each zone checking on people and all that. So we have a really cool organizational chart. I mean, like we have like our tech guy, if he left, which he had, he got COVID one year, and I was out there doing tech, but we have an assistant. So an assistant learns everything about the show. So if he goes down, it's not a big deal. It's not like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And so we have that in place. But yeah, I just do rounds and rounds and rounds and ask if everybody's doing okay, if there's any questions, if they're having any problems, what's the problems, and let's see, and of course everybody's always going, Bart, I can't wait till season. And I'm like, I can, and of course they're like, well, why don't you like the season? And I go, well, let me tell you what I get to deal with. Problem, situation, problem. I'm just a problem and situation solver. That's all I can do during the whole season. I don't get to dress up. I don't get to do any of that. We're trying to figure out a way for me to get in costume and character, because I still love to do it. But it's if we can, these situations like, okay, last year we had we called code blues, and that's when an actor gets hurt. We had so many every night. And one of us has to be there when this happens, and them getting treated and all that it was just, oh my gosh, am I EMS or am I a show director? What am I? So no, I would rather it being the off season. And another thing is too is that I give my actor manager, which is Kaniva, a hard time because once Haunt starts, my even though I'm really stressed or really just amped up, because I got to get everything done, and it's like I pass the baton on to him. It's like, okay, now it's all not because he's the one that's running the show, and he's the one that's all back there making sure all the actors are doing what the team leads are doing what they're supposed to do. So it's almost like my stress levels here, and then the haunt opens and it kind of goes down, and then his goes up. So it's like passing the baton.
Well, Becky Dobson was asking, how many actor managers do you have to manage 186 actors?
For 186 actors, we have one actor manager and assistant actor manager. That's it. And then we have 5 team leads. We have our haunt in 5 zones, and then those team leads have breakers, and the breakers have roamers, and then we have our actors. And then now with the situation we had last year, which was the code blues, and we all looked at each other one night and we go, wait a minute, I'm here, my actor manager's here, the assistant actor manager's here, the team lead's here. Who's running the haunt?
Mm.
We were dealing with a situation where the girl was having has had heart problems and was having heart issues, and we had EMS over there too. But we're all sitting there just like, wait. We started freaking out a little bit because she was kind of coming in and out. We're like, wait, is she going to die right in front of us? No. And so we were all freaking out. But then we all kind of looked at each other. We're like, okay, so we're all out here. Who's running the haunt? But it was a scary situation. And we're all trying to be there to be supportive and kind of staying out of the way, but still. And then so we're going to have a backstage manager now. So we're actually adding a position this year. And so if any actors have a problem, or have a code blue, or get injured or anything like that, our backstage manager is now going to deal with that. And so we created a new position this year just for that. But yeah, so we have an actor manager, we have assistant actor manager, team lead, roamer, and breaker.
How many people have radios for communication purposes? Is that your team leads or
team? Okay, we have our queue line manager, which manages 15 people. We have 15 people in our queue line. That's all they do. We run 600 people through the haunt. I mean, we gotta get it going. They have one. We have security. Every security personnel has one. Our costume and makeup manager have one. All the team leads, actor manager, any manager has one. Both techs have one. And then the breakers have one. So the breakers have one too. And then depending on the position that they're in, like we have where a flame goes off on our combine, they have a radio. The chainsaws out at in the silo out in the corn, they have a radio. And so anywhere where we can't get to just like that, or if they have a position or a thing like fire, they got to have a radio. And so
gee, that's important.
Yes. So yeah. And we just bought new radios this year too. That's a big thing that we've been trying to get along these radios that we've had, and it got to the point where if they were on the back side of the corn and we were on the front side of the queue line, it would break up. And then we had some that were like, person would be standing there and we'd be talking and they wouldn't hear it, but they would. And so we just finally got rid of them and got some new ones because it becoming a safety issue. Not being able to communicate properly with everybody.
Use earpieces?
Yeah, some of us do. I do. We provide them.
I always find that's a hard thing because it's hard to hear on them. You almost got to use the earpiece or.
Yeah, I always have.
You're allowed it. Yeah.
And that way customers aren't hearing it. Now, one of the things you're talking about, you purchase new radios. We end up renting radios every season. Along with some of the metal fencing for our queue lines. We got metal fencing, delineating our queue lines instead of just ropes. Do you guys rent anything at all, or do you own?
We own everything. We basically we saw what the farm was using, and the farm's way bigger than us. And what they were using, I talked to their manager just to make sure, and said, asked them what pros and cons they had. And what was the range and all that. And I actually grabbed one of theirs and we started doing range just to make sure that we were good. And I was out there at the farthest point away in the cornfield and had Michael continuously check in as he walked all the way back to the office. And there's numerous trees and buildings between me and him. And that's what I wanted to make sure we had as many buildings between me and him or trees as possible. And I could hear it crystal clear as day in the office. And we never could do that before. And so we bought the radios. But the only thing we rent is which was awesome, is a emergency cart, which is like a 6-man cart that my security can use in case there's something happens in the haunt and we got to get them, but they can't walk or anything like that. We could take them up to the emergency shack.
Oh, cool.
Ryan Ruger again. What's your favorite theme to build and design? Do you have a favorite theme that you like working on?
I have a theme that I wanted to work on that I never got to. And I thought that as I left Dark Hour, there's two. As I left Dark Hour, they were supposed to do this finale, and it was going to be pirate ships. And I've always wanted to build pirate ships. And I was like, yes, I'm finally going. Oh, wait, I'm leaving. They're not going to build pirate ships. A post-apocalyptic city. I've always wanted to build that. That is something I've always wanted to do. I think that would be a lot of fun. I know that when the Wintons and me we were going to do Dead Zone, and I was like, yes, I'm finally going to do a post-apocalyptic city. That would be cool. But it never happened. And but yeah, that would be the coolest thing, would be like a post-apocalyptic city.
Kind of like a Fallout.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, where you have, where it looks like a city. I even had it where I even designed something where the street down the middle would do this. So you would go in and out of buildings, and when you went into a building and you came out, it seemed like you're on a whole different street because the street zigzagged. Mm-hmm. And and so it was supposed to, that would be fun.
Now Daryl got to do it. How many years y'all do the apocalypse?
We at our haunt we end up changing the theme every year, but there's kind of a continuity of the theme. Everything gets reused, moved around. You shift everything one room to the left and rebuild 40% of it. But we had a quarantine, which was military. The following season, we had a post-apocalyptic, the New Dark Ages. And then we ended up going, and it still had that military theme. But then the military theme kind of evolved into space theme.
Oh, wow.
So we've done some of that. Plus, we also had one part of it, we had sort of a World War II theme that then led into a futuristic space theme because you were kind of traveling through both of those.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, it's been fun. And then in the last place we were at, we had a 2-story Victorian manor inside the warehouse. And this year, 3 years ago, we moved to a new facility, a quite large facility, about 44,000 square feet. And it's on multiple levels. But we're putting the second story on the Victorian manor this year. Last season, they built a 2-story, basically the cathedral or an abbey. So it had some stuff last year. This year we're doing going back on the house side of things. So I'm having fun watching it as it progresses, and I'm working on some couple of different lighting effects, playing around with a few things. Because I've been ill, I don't have all of the time and the energy to do everything that I used to be able to do. So kind of sitting on some of the sidelines and working with things like microcontrollers and peekaboos, so that doing the other side of things. So it's a lot of fun.
John,
I'm curious when I'm going to, that's something I learn every year. It's like, what can I not do this year? What can I not do this year?
What can you not do this year?
Yeah, that's what I say when I like my birthday, I'm going, okay, what am I not going to be able to do this year?
Yeah.
It's been going downhill since 35.
Right. I feel your pain. John Akers, when you were an owner, did you use sponsors or investors?
I didn't use either. The biggest investor I had was my partner. The partner that I had, he's the one that I forked out the talent. He forked out the money. And so he made his investment back, pretty good. And so, but yeah, so I was the talent, he was the money, and that's how that worked.
Shane Helmstetter, what did you put on the path to keep the dust down? What was that you
Oh,
called it?
Oh my
You
gosh,
said mag chloride?
yeah, mag chloride.
And can you get that for like concrete plants or gravel yards or
I don't
something?
know. I know that Jim Anderson, the owner, gets it for me. That's all I know.
Oh, we've used it before somewhere. I think when
Yeah,
we
because
had our
he
place out in the
gets it to
country, I
put on
think.
the roads for when they take wagons out.
It's kind of like a dust, isn't it? Almost kind of comes
Yeah, a
in.
lot of dust from those wagons, so he usually pours it down. But Dylan, our tech guy, made me a pull behind machine where I just pull the wagon behind me and it sprays on the ground. It's pretty cool.
Because then it hardens up on the top, almost like
Yep.
concrete, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Um, Becky Dobson, I need all your tips on tri I need all your tips and tricks on attracting, managing, keeping actors, how to keep them excited, how to deal with problem actors, how to stop clicks from forming, etc. As an owner, dealing with staff is the most draining part for me. I
We've got
understand
that.
that.
We've got that one nailed down.
Yeah,
Uh,
let's do it.
we came up with I've had an idea for the longest time, and I do believe I stole it from John LaFlamboy, and which was his team and his productions, and I just made it bigger. And so what I did was I created the Fright Squad, and we had to go through several different things. We had to come up with a name. We already had it kind of the center of it, what it was supposed to be about. But we used to give our actors shirts every year, custom shirts that was just for the cast. And instead of doing that, we were talking about let's do back patches. Let's do a back patch that says Fright Squad, and only the people that get it are the people that work for Terror on the Corn. And basically, they got to provide their own jacket, and and then we'll put it on the back, and then we have like you guys have a patch system, and we have all these different patches that they can win, or every year we have a year patch, so you have a year that you were there. Those are given for free. We also do like the year of the witch. We have a little square patch that we do. They don't cost very much, but and so we did that. And again, the first year that we did Fright Squad was a good sum of money because you had to give them to everybody. And then the next year we're retaining 80%. I think now we're losing a lot to college, but we're retaining 80% of our actors.
Wow.
And so we're each year it gets smaller and smaller as far as what we have to give them, back patches and stuff like that. So again, big price at the front, and then a little lesser price as you move on from there, as long as your actors stay. um, we we do a lot as far as just I'll just stay on the jacket for now. So the jacket really works. So they get a black denim jacket, they put that on there, they put their own patches on there, they make it their own, but then we also give them patches and all that. And we get asked all the time because when we go out and do stuff, we all have those jackets on, and we get all this. We always get, "Are you a motorcycle gang?" Like no, and but it's gotten to be like from what I found out this last year, even in school, they wear them in school and they walk down the hallway and they look like this little gang that they're a part of. And that was the big thing is that when you're a part of Fright Squad, I wanted it to be that's the clique. We created the clique, and we're not letting you have control of cliques. We control the clique. And so it was a part of everybody's together. Everybody that's on Fright Squad is your brother and sister. It's that kind of camaraderie to it, and it has worked wonders as far as anybody that's not a part of Fright Squad is out of the clique. They're not a part of us, and it really worked that way. It followed it into school, into high schools. They're their own little clique, and of course people see that and they want to be a part of it, and it works. Another thing is too, I do believe we treat our actors like people. That's a big thing. I know that's a big thing. That's not just a big thing as far as in the haunted house industry. That's a big thing in just businesses, period. you're just a number, you're just that. No, you're a person. That's a big thing. So we're very personable with people. And so a big thing that our actor manager, and this is something I'm actually working on this year, is he knows everybody's name. Like our rehearsal night, very first night we're open, this new person came up and goes, "Hey, Kaniva, I got a question." And he goes, "Yes," and he said their name, and they were so just shocked by the actor manager knowing their name that they forgot their question. I mean, just
I had to
again,
teach myself to do it. Because
yeah.
I'm terrible with names, but the only way I can remember
Oh, I am
people's
too.
names is I have to link their name with something like an attribute about them
Huh.
or something that rhymes with it, or if I can find something about their personality or their stature, tall, and then link their name to somehow. It's the only way I can remember it because I'm visual. So
Yeah.
if I can see it, I was like, oh, I know you're Bart. I remember you, Bart.
In my position, I am so disconnected from everybody because I'm doing so many other things whenever they get there. My only connection to them is every night I make it a point and I tell everybody it's what I do. That I'm the first person to go through the haunt. And I give everybody fist bumps and tell them to have a great night. Thank you for being here. Have a great night. And it got that is huge. They feel like they're missing out on the night if they don't get fist bumps. It's weird. It's become almost like a game where they will run to other scenes that they're right next to just so they can get an extra fist bump. I mean, just that little thing it means a lot to them, and of course, appreciating that they're there. Uh, but that's something this year I'm so disconnected that on Wednesdays I fix the haunt up, so on Thursdays I have nothing to do before we open. So I told Kaniva that, hey, can I call out names for the makeup room on Thursdays so I can start learning everybody's name because I hate it that I don't know hardly anybody. And I'm so disconnected to them that all I know is I see them when their mask or makeup's on.
Yeah.
So when it's the cast party, I have people coming up to me and I'm like,
Who are you?
"Who are you?" Because I'm so not used to seeing them.
You have to tell them my character name. I'm the character. Oh, okay.
So with another thing with Fright Squad, again, the biggest thing with Fright Squad is the camaraderie, feeling like you're a part of something. That's big for people, especially with the newer generations. They're not used to being a part of anything. They're stuck in their phones, and so it's having that support system for the newer generations is a big thing. It's a big thing, period. But for the newer generations, it's a pretty big thing. We again with the whole jacket system we have just going into the season, so after we close every night, I don't know everybody can do this at Anderson Farms. We have a kitchen, so they get food at the end of the night. So at the end of the night we go up to the farm and sit underneath the pavilion and we talk. Everybody gets their food, they sit down, they talk, and it's really funny. You can watch to see who's in management at those things because everybody's like, oh, you see management just going just dead. That's team leads everything. It's just a heck of a night for them. And so, but again, we feed them every night. We go through. We give them awards every night. Actor of the night awards, and here's how we use that system. So let's say we see somebody with, like, let's say we're trying to bring intensity into the show. So that night we'll pick somebody who's being very intense to sit there and give them an award because for one, they're doing really well. They should have an award. But the reason why they have an award that night is we need to bring the intensity up to the whole haunt. And so we talk about why they got the reward and why they got this and why they got that. And so that's part of the reason why we do the awards nights and all that. As far as yearly things, we do things probably 2 or 3 times a month. We have a improv class every last Friday of every month. And then we just had a all-day class last weekend where it was from like 9 to 6. and we had 5 different classes that they could go to, and they could come in and leave anytime. We've provided lunch. But we have all different types of classes. We do a lot of fun stuff out. Like we're going to do a movie night where, hey, we're going to see 28 years later at this theater at this time, and we'll all meet up there. We do a Scarborough fair type thing. We go and do that too. We had a crow party. That was something new we did this year. I was like, crow party, and what it is everybody dressed up goth, and then everybody brought a shiny thing, something shiny like a crow would have, and we put it on this table, and we had a contest on who brought the shiniest thing, and of course we played goth music the whole time and did that. We have a Christmas event where it's just a get together. Where we actually have a gift exchange, and basically what it is everybody brings patches. And of course, you go and you pick up a bag, and that's your patch that you have for that year. And so we do a lot of things as far as throughout the year, because we want to keep everybody together and motivated to come back. Another thing we do is we give updates of everything we're doing. We give sneak peeks. Hey, this is the props that just came in. We share that. So we do. It's just a lot, and Brandywin, and to get it started, that's another thing is too. I'll just talk about that real quick. Is getting it started. So we had the idea, we had the design. Seeds is coming. How are we going to make everybody grab a hold of this? So we Kaniva and Brandywin, which is the actor assistant actor manager, they grabbed our most influential people that everybody looks up to in the haunt and said, hey, we're doing this thing. And we gave them their patches early so they could do the jackets. And because if they're excited about it and people look up to them, they're going to be excited about it. And that's how it actually, we thought it was going to take 2 years, maybe to kick off. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Everybody had their jackets. Everybody, and now it's everybody has their jackets whenever the new people come in, and they're like, they're coming up, they're like, when are we gonna get our patch? When are we gonna get our patch? And of course you have to wait 2 weeks into the haunt to make sure you're gonna stay, and then you get your patch. And so they're like, we already bought our jackets, and they're very excited about it because they want to be a part of it. It's the craziest thing that it took off as fast as it did.
Well, that's how we started Scare Badges. Was
I
Daryl
was
came
going
up
to say
with the
that's
concept,
sort of
and
the same thoughts behind it, just as the awards and the recognition, and we started a company based on that. So.
And we started using it with our scare actors, and it was the same thing. It's like, for instance, the attendance badge. You have to, in order to get the gold badge, you have to go every single night throughout the season. And we had actors that last weekend that were just hanging in there because they didn't want to skip a night. They're like, oh no, we got to get that gold badge. We got to get that gold badge. It's just small things, but you're right. They want to feel like they're in a tribe. They're in a group. Other people see the jackets and the badges and which is.
And we saw when we were down at Transworld, we saw a lot of people sporting those badges as well as their own ones as well.
Yeah,
it's like you say. Are you guys bikers? No, we're not.
They're haunters. Even better. Yeah.
Yeah, only one of us is here. Only one of us is bikers. The rest of them aren't. No,
That's right. Well, Shane was asking, that was yes, another one. I asked the first one. So actors that call out all the time or demanding attention, just bad actors. How do you deal with actors that are having issues?
Okay. So again, I have an awesome actor manager. Michael Kaniva is phenomenal. He came up with a system. Now, normally if you call out, now this year we actually did something. I'll get back to Kaniva and his system, but we had a 3 call out notice. You called out once, what was the reason why, and it gets written down. The second time they get called, it gets written down. The third time, they're taken off the schedule. They have to physically come and talk to Kaniva to get back on the schedule again. We have that 3 call out rule, and it worked this year. Now Kaniva has a system as far as attitude goes. I'll just should throw this out. The problem we're having is our gypsies. For some reason, our gypsies get these attitudes that they're above everybody, or so not all gypsies, but it seems to be a common theme
Like their status in the hierarchy.
Yeah, and then of course they quit trying as hard or doing or have an attitude, and then we just take them out of that position, and that's when they have meltdowns. And so, but no, if anybody has a bad attitude or anything like that, we usually try to correct the attitude by talking to them or whatnot. And if we can't get it corrected, then we let them go, because one bad apple will ruin the whole bunch, and we get rid of that really fast. But the system we have in place, so if you make it through the end of the season, so we have our actor manager, our assistant actor manager, and our team leads all have to write a thing about each actor. So,
wow.
And then they have to give them a score from 1 to 10. And our score keeps going up. The first year we did it, it was a 5. If you got a 5 or below, you didn't come back. This year was a 6.5. If you didn't get a 6.5, or if you got lower than a 6.5, you were not asked to come back. Because we're retaining now. We had last year we had over 500 and I think 15 applications, and we didn't have that many positions. It's just and so we're to that point now where we're not having to take everybody. We're able to go, and okay, so you got to be at this level. And a lot of problems is that that we have is that we teach and teach and teach, and maybe that team lead's not getting to them, so we switch them over to another team lead. And if that team lead's not getting to them, this is just not the job for them. It's not working out because they're just not getting it. We don't just sit there and throw them in. We have that 5-minute how to scare in 5 minutes, and again, it's just a card that we have that shows them everything from safety and how the scene works, everything that we give to all the team leads. So if they have a new person, they can just refer to that card.
That's cool. Oh, cheat sheet.
Yeah, but it was just So we hold them accountable is what we do. We hold everybody accountable for doing a good job. Even our top guys, like our queue line actors, they get scored too. Everybody gets scored. And
so that's after the end of the season when everything's
when everything's
got wrap
done.
up, and
we score. Right. And then this year I think we got rid of over 30 people. We let go. We didn't just ask them not to come back.
So do you hire enough people beforehand to cover that, or are you hiring mid-season too? Or
we always overhire at the first of the season. We always have more people than we can know what to do with our first weekend, which is fine. But of course, right now, last year which was awesome. We had 80%, which is I think the first time we've had this 80% stay that were new hires. And of course, 20% people said that this wasn't for them, because we try to tell them that it's hard work. It's not it's not easy work at all. It's a sport.
It's the hardest job that you're going to love, though.
Yeah, exactly. No, you'll get an itch.
You either love it or you hate it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we tell them. Either you're going to love it or you're going to hate it. And if you hate it, we tell them that at the auditions. And if you hate it, please let us know. It's not going to. We understand this is not for everybody. And but we say that exact thing in auditions. The biggest thing in auditions is that we learned this from John LaFlamboy this year, and we're going to implement it. Is we want to make people feel welcome. So we have people out in the parking lot that will bring people up to the shop. That's where we have our auditions, and we have where they can sit under cover, and we have our team leads out there talking to them, making them feel welcome and all that. And he said, because people always ask, what are they looking for? What are they looking for? And John LaFlamboy said, because he said we could teach anybody that, but the problem is that we need people here every night. So that's what we tell them. They need people who are going to be here. Coming here for one day of the weekend ain't going to work for us. And so John told us that, and I was like, and he goes, and surprisingly, we had more people here every night than we ever had before. So we're going to implement that this year.
So set your expectations, stick to your expectations, hold people accountable, let people go if they have to be let go.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
again, we're creating the culture. We are creating the culture. We're not letting them, we're not letting them do the clicks. We're doing the clicks. Like we did the click, like the gypsies. That's our click. They didn't start that click. We did. The gypsies are their own thing. They're like right there between the Wells and the witch, and they don't like the Wells, but they hate the witch. And so they're it's just like this. We create the clicks. We don't let them. We create the culture. We do not let them create the culture.
Yeah. Yeah, we found that out too, that we had to get rid of people that need to get rid of quicker than later, sooner than later, because it causes, well, then the other actors see that they're getting away with something, or if you don't hold, if you don't hold them accountable. So then the whole crew starts getting, or they can start skipping nights or, being late, and like, no.
Well, I'll tell you something funny that I found out a couple of years ago is that a lot of the actors are scared of me, which is kind of weird. And I couldn't figure out why. And of course, they said because during the haunt, you're direct. You're just direct. And I was like, yeah, I got to be, because we got so many people going through the haunt. I don't, this is the way it is, and so and they go, that's probably why. And I go, no, I found out was my actor manager was using me as dad. Don't let me go get dad.
Yep. Haunt dad.
And I was like, wait, what? And so the team leads found it funny because they knew about it, and they actually made me a shirt that says Bart's actually the nice one. But yeah.
Well, Shane said he loves your BS way of dealing with stuff, or your no BS way of dealing with stuff. So
I do. I especially when we're open. I don't have. There's been times where I have looked at something and I go get Edwards or somebody else, because I'm like, if I say anything, they're all going to go home, because because I got a show to run. I don't have time for this. And so I usually go get Edwards, because he's usually really well. He does really well dealing with that. I don't. I'm like, I'm also Gen X. I'm just I'm very sarcastic also, which doesn't help. Yeah.
Right. Especially when you're short and you say something sarcastic and you just keep walking. They're like, was he being serious, or was he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that too. I, like you, had to start delegating positions, or I just couldn't do it all. So
yes. So basically, if an actor has to deal with me, it's not good. Basically, if I have to go in and deal with an actor, which has almost happened. It hasn't happened yet. They threatened. And then they had me where I was walking into that scene, and they grabbed me a hold of it and said, hold on, Bart. They had to rethink it to make sure they were going to send me in there.
So are the actor training drills, and even the movies and event stuff, are those mandatory, or are those all voluntary?
They're not mandatory. I would say as far as the improv classes, the only mandatory one that we have, and that's they have to come to at least half of them, and that's our Q line actors. Our Q line actors, if you want to be a Q line actor, you have to at least come to half of the improv classes, because you're the one out there improving the whole time, and we want you to be really good out there in that Q line. But yeah, that's the only one. Everything else is not. We do have patches. If you do go to, I think it's 75% of it. If you go to 75% of the classes, not the events, just the classes, we do have a patch for that too. And so we just We just got that one this year. It's called a scholar.
It's called what? Scholar?
We call it a scholar.
We call our scholar.
Oh, do you? Oh, there you go.
It's a skull with a grad cap.
Yeah. So yeah.
So who copied who on that one?
He's a bad copywriter, sure. Also, working out in the cold. How do you guys? What do you layer up? Yeah.
We basically we try to tell them to have a haunt kit. We actually do a thing over that. one night, I think at the first of the year, one of our team leads shows everybody this is what a haunt kit is, and also we tell them, I go, basically, you never know the temperature here. It'll go from hot to cold really quick because of the desert climate. Also, too, basically, it looks like I live out of my car on when we're open because I have all kinds of clothes in there, but so I can change anytime I need to. If I need to put thermals on, I put thermals on. If I, it's just, yeah. And again, we've been open in the snow before, and while it's snowing,
we are every year. Yep.
We've been open while it's raining. Now, if it starts raining really heavy, we had it one time where Supercell was over the haunt and hailing and doing all that. I think it was like at 6, and it flooded out the haunt. The water had nowhere to go, and so we had to close down that night. But normally, I will do whatever we can not to close. We've worked through smoke before. That's a first in my haunt career. We had a fire up in the mountains, and we could see it over us the whole time. Just crazy. This was in 2022, and it got cold, so the smoke went straight to the ground. And so we worked in a smoke-filled. Now the next night we just closed because we were already open and we already had people in line and all that. So we just tried to. We were losing actors left and right. And I'll give you the best excuse I've ever had in my haunt career to go home. That night, we had an actor said that they had asthma and couldn't breathe because of the smoke. And as he said that, he was smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
He was one of the ones that we wanted to let go and didn't want him to be there. He was causing a lot of problems. And so we told him he needed to take care of himself and to just take the rest of the season off and all that. And so it was actually a good thing that we actually got, we told him to do that. But yeah, that was the best excuse I've had. Now, of course, grandmothers don't last very long, during October, but we won't go into that. But yeah, so yeah, we've worked in smoke, we've worked in cold, we've worked in the heat. This year, this first night that Kaniva said, now I'm from Texas, so I'm used to us opening night being 95 degrees, and so this year it was like 89 when we opened in Colorado. That's unheard of. And so, we had a lot of actors starting to drop because of that. So it's just bring all different kinds, bring layers, and then just come out with whatever you think is there. And then if you need to layer up, we never mind you leaving your scene to layer up. I mean, we're not, and so we usually have 2 people in a scene anyways. And so it's never a problem.
And
we have people that go, can I go to the bathroom? And I'm like, yeah. Why haven't you gone? Just let the person in the scene with you, let them know. You don't have to ask. If you got to go, you're an adult. Go.
Well, they say they're adults sometimes.
I know. But as long, I basically said, as long as somebody else is in your scene when you got to go, unless it's an emergency, and then it's understandable. But
where can they get the comic book and the video game?
Okay, the video game's on Steam. You can get that on Steam, but the comic book is at our haunt, or I think you can buy it on. Oh my gosh, he's going to kill me.
Website. There's
a website that you can buy it on. If you look up Terror in the Corn comic book, you could probably find it. It's not he's changed the company several times. He's merged this company so many times that and again, Michael Edwards is the one that usually deals with this, but I can't think of the company name off the top of my head.
So I was trying to find a link on the website. There's something covering it, but it doesn't really have a buy. It's just a press release.
We're actually making a page just for that stuff this year, for our merch and all that. You can't buy our merch, but at least you can see it. And of course, if you can buy a comic book, but I think you can only buy like the online version of it. You can't buy a physical copy unless you come to Terror in the Corn.
That's your exclusive.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is the video.
think it's Metal X. I think that's where you can buy the comic book.
What's it called?
Metal X.
Okay.
Again, it was something when we first started doing it, and then it merged into this other company, and I can't remember if he merged again. But I was like, and again, I don't deal. Michael normally deals with that. I just look at the artwork and go, yes, no, none. And
Right.
so,
You guys
but,
working on a specific page on the website to sell all
yeah,
that? And
yeah. And then we got a
market
second
that?
comic book coming out. We just got the cover. We're still working on the cover, but we got the second comic book, which is about Demetra. So this one's the first one's about the Wells twins, and then you have the one about the Demetra. And so yeah, it's got Metal X on there, so it's Metal X. Is
Okay.
where you get the online version of the comic book.
Okay. Well, I think it's 9 o'clock. We got all of our questions answered. Oh, Shane is asking, do you ever have build parties where other actors are involved in the building process? Or do you have your own
No, I
builders?
have some assistants that normally come in. This year we actually added another one. We have some people that we look at, and they got to be a little bit of knowledgeable, or at least fast learner. And like I've been blessed with my son working with me for the last 2 years, so at least I get to see him every day. And then we have some other temporary people come in May and June, and then we have some other people coming in. So yeah, we have some staff coming in, but not very many.
So you're basically, how much of that do you change up every year? You change up most of it?
Oh, I wouldn't say most of it. We've been
Just adding?
battling lately we've been battling, okay, the scene's starting to deteriorate. We need to change it. This year we're redoing our whole queue line to make it look like a train station, because that would be outside of a ghost town, would be a train station. And so also too, I got 12-foot, they're going to be 12-foot walls now. It was kind of like when you were in the queue line, you still got to see the farm. I want to take them out of that completely as soon as they enter my queue line. And also too, we made it where the platform is a stage, so now we can have shows and all that too. So it's a big thing that we're doing. We're adding a huge area, which is an orphanage. We're adding that, which I would say is a 80 by 60 area that that you're going to go through. The orphanage is burnt down, so this could be my first time burning something down, which is kind of
on purpose.
Yeah, on purpose. So yeah, taking a torch to something inside the haunt is a little scary. So yeah, we're gonna build it like it's been we're gonna build it like it's burnt down, and then actually burn it and then seal it. We're doing the second phase of the clock tower. So I built this clock tower up there, which is what stopped time, and the reason why the town's still back in the 1900. And so I didn't get to build it all the way up. It got to the point where I think I was 26 feet up in the air, and I was building it by myself with a 4x6 frame all the way around. And I got to the point where it was just, I couldn't do it anymore. So I figured I'm gonna make it look like it's broke and smashed down as far as the clock face and all that on the ground underneath. So that's the second phase. We repurposing a room and making it into a spider room. Now we're not making it a traditional spider room because again, we're outdoors. You can't do spider webs because they don't look right. We can't use the glue gun because it'll melt because of the sun. And so we're actually, I said, what about let's do trap spiders? Like they come out of holes or something like that. And so we're doing these big mounds that are going to have all these holes in it. And then we'll have crawlers that will come out from some of these holes that'll look like a spider, a spider person, coming out at them. And then we'll have animatronic spiders coming down, one coming out of a hole, in which Dylan has made those himself, which are pretty awesome. I've never seen a spider move down a web like that before. He did a really good job. But and then we've redone some rooms because of the flow doesn't work or the scare's not working. So I think there's 2 or 3 rooms. We redid our train station because we had a train station in the haunt. Well, the train station's out of the haunt, so we had to tear that down. And that's now an apothecary that's coming out of the tunnels. So it's really a witch person that's integrated themselves into the town. And so there's this big battle going between Demetra's side and the cryptids versus the Wells and the townsfolk. There's this big war that's going on. And so there's so much more. We just did we just put the corn did the maize out on the corn today, flagged that out, and then tilled it. And then we'll probably next week, we'll probably put the buildings on out there. But
Going through your
I think
to-do
that's
list.
yeah, the orphanage and the queue line are the biggest projects this year. And I actually cut the projects in half this year because I told the guys, I said, unless I get another builder who has knowledge of building, I can't be the show director and the main builder with all this stuff going on. And so we're looking into that next year. But so I cut my stuff in half this year. So I cut the build in half this year because I'm just like, it's just, but the queue line, I would say the queue line was kind of the oldest thing that we had. And again, I keep saying we're a mile long. We need to quit making it bigger. Now I'm adding, an orphanage. Next year we're adding a Wells mansion. And I'm like, okay, we got to quit. We got to start just tearing stuff down and rebuilding and quit making it bigger. It's already big.
Have you thought of multiple attractions, or you want to continue the one linear?
I did tell them that we could get rid of, I did explain that with how long our attraction is, which is around 45 to 50 minutes, along with having 64,000 people go through, 600 people per half hour, that the only way we can get rid of the conga lines is to do a multi-attraction thing. And I said, but we're time ticketing, which I will never go back to regular ticketing after being time ticketing. But how will we work that into time ticketing? Because that's another thing we do is, we only open 22 nights a year. So you're thinking, 64,000 people. You know what time we're open from on Friday night? I'll just say Saturday. Saturday night we're open from 7 to 11. Guess when the last person goes into our haunt? 11. That's 11 o'clock. We start shutting that haunt down at 11. I mean, we have just perfected getting people in and going that way. And so, yeah, we don't stay late. We don't stay open until 2 or 3 in the morning. I tell my staff that I want to go home just as much as you, and I'm going to do whatever I can for us to go home.
Yeah.
I don't want to be here late either.
It is simpler. It is simpler.
It is simpler just to have one attraction, but we've got time ticketing. We have 3 attractions plus concession and beverage area. Basically that's your time ticket is to get into the haunt, not into the specific attraction.
Yeah.
So by the time half hour before close is when we, that's our last official entrance.
Yeah.
But we try and coerce people. It's like, have you been through all 3 haunts yet? Because we're closing soon.
Yeah.
And that's at 11:50. It's like, oh,
we had that problem because we had the zombie paintball, and that was the biggest problem is that the farm closes down at 11. So it's not just us, it's the whole farm. So when they come into the farm's also time ticketing. Now, the value of our ticket is you get on the farm too. So really, if you look at we keep raising our prices too, because we keep getting so many people. We're like, we want to cut the riff raft out is what we want to do. But like this year, our general admission is $47. But you're looking at 27 of that is actually to get on the farm. So the ticket to get on the farm is $27, but you get that. But people don't use the value of the ticket. So they could actually come here and spend all day on the farm and then do the haunted house at night. But with the way our ticketing system is and the owner is like, no, I don't want to have to deal with and all that. And we still had that problem. Like people would get there right at 11 and then they would go through the haunt and they would get mad because zombie paintball's closed. It was just, we didn't want to stay. They don't want to stay open later. That's the biggest problem. And I said, also too, we'll have to retheme 2 of the other. I told them, I said, our haunt's so big, I could break it up to 3 haunts and we'd be fine. I said, but I don't know if you want to do that. And I gave them all those things and told them everything we could do. And they went, no, we're fine.
Yep.
I said, we can even charge more money because we're like multi-attraction now, but yeah.
Yeah, there's pros and cons of both.
No. And again, I would be fine with either. And, but they don't want to go through the headache of having the 3 attractions and then having to maybe stay open later than 11. And they've gotten spoiled by me closing like,
yeah.
Yeah. So tell everybody where they can find you and where you're going to be up next. You're going to be in any conventions or shows, or is it now just
Just
No, I'm probably going to be here in Colorado riding motorcycles and building a haunt. I don't think I'll be going to any other shows. Again, they can find me on Facebook. They can watch they can, I apologize about the first few seasons of A Haunter's Life. You can watch that. We try to make it entertaining, but yeah. So hopefully, if we get a full-time film person out there, we can start A Haunter's Life back up. But that's yeah.
so if
So
you're
then,
you guys
then
are
of course,
you guys
go
are
ahead.
watching or listening, then go to terrorinthecorn.com. And is this hiring season yet, or people are
July is hiring season.
okay? And if you can you want to do some filming, let Bart know, and you live close by, maybe we can start up the channel again. Get a
That's
petition.
not the problem. It's having the budget to pay somebody, or having the budget and the reason to pay somebody to do it. That's the problem we have. We have plenty of people that want to do it.
Yeah. Well, they just need to be your apprentices. See, they just need to do it for free, just give them a patch or something.
That's the problem. We can't have anybody work for free at the farm. It's with the insurance and all that. It's a
That's
weird
true.
thing we got.
Well, thank you, Bart, for all your knowledge. I think Shane says thank you for all the great info. John Akers, always enjoy hearing Bart talk. You're welcome. You're welcome. How tall is your corn?
Last year we got hit with a hailstorm as it was growing, and it stunted it. So it only got to about 5 feet in some areas, and then maybe a little bit above 6 feet. Usually it's about 6.5 feet, if not 7 feet tall.
Shane said they got some 10 to 12 feet tall.
Wow.
I know
Well,
we're
yeah.
here in Missouri. We're pretty tall in Missouri too. We got some tall corn.
Here's the problem we have. They actually, because I complained about it this year. I go, how can we get, because we went to another haunt, their corn was tall. Now, of course, they were northern from us and a little bit on the plains more than where near the mountains. And Jim started going into the anatomy of corn. And I'm like, okay, now I'm lost. But, he was telling me that that corn it grows really well out there, but it doesn't grow that well here. It grows good. But the problem is that we have wind that is so bad that out there, we have gusts that'll knock buildings over if they're not concreted down or tied down, that they'll just break the stalks just right over as soon as they brown up. And so that's the reason why we can't have the cord that's 10 to 12 feet high. He found, after all the years, because they've been doing this since 98, and he found a mixture of breed that will withstand the wind but grow at least to 6.5, 7 feet tall.
That's plenty tall for what you're doing.
But the problem is that if we have a really big bad windstorm coming through, all the leaves will be gone and they'll just be sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a Colorado problem. That wind coming right off those mountains.
Yes, sir. All right, Bart. We appreciate all your knowledge tonight. Everyone, thank you for your questions. This will be on Facebook, Hunter's Toolbox group, and you will get an email if you're on our email list, and you can sign up at hunterstoolbox.com. So, well, I got the privilege of seeing behind the scenes when I went up to Colorado and saw you with the family, and I want to go through it live with actors.
Yeah, it's so much better.
Yeah. So, but it was cool to see the layout and everything too. So it was cool. But well, I guess we'll see you next time. I'm sure we'll have you on here again. You see me pop up every one time a year, every couple of years we have you on here. So catch up. All right, Bart.
That's awesome.
Okay. Take care,
man.
Bart.
Thank you.
And thanks
Good time.
everybody for showing up tonight and asking your questions. And we'll have to do this again sometime.
Always good talking to Bart.
Definitely. Thank you guys.
Thanks a lot.
All right, Bart.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
See ya.
Bye.
This podcast episode sponsored by Scarlet Badges. Get your Scarlet Badges at scarebadges.com. Also sponsored by Hunter's Toolbox. Take your haunt to the next level at hunterstoolbox.com. Thank you for listening to Haunt Topic Radio. Please leave a comment wherever you found this podcast. Each comment you leave will help spread the word to other haunters around the world. See you next time.